Hello, my name is Andrea Huebner, and I'm the incoming training director for the Pediatric Neuropsychology Fellowship here at Mayo Clinic. Thank you for checking out our application materials. I'd like to just talk really casually for a few minutes about some of the things that I think are special about Mayo, and hopefully after you've done your due diligence, you'll be interested enough to come for a visit to see if this might be a good place to continue your training. In terms of why I came to Mayo, I have to say I still feel really lucky to have ended up at a place like Mayo. Throughout my training, I've been part of several other major academic medical centers, and each of those had their own strengths, but I have never been to a place like Mayo, and I don't plan on leaving as long as they're willing to keep me. I just don't think that there's any other place that can match Mayo Clinic in terms of the clinical care for patients, but also the opportunities that it holds for me as a person who is interested in education and training and also has a research program. I grew up in Iowa, in a small town in Iowa, and so Mayo Clinic was something that I had always known about as a kid. I had family members who came here for care, and they would invariably come back home and talk about the positive experiences that they had at Mayo Clinic. And I have to say, you know, even until the time that I interviewed here as an adult, I really thought that there was something magical happening here at Mayo Clinic. And I still feel that way, even though I've, of course, had a chance now to look behind the curtain. The magic is that it's made up of hundreds of incredibly intelligent, tireless, hardworking, humble professionals who just come to work each day wanting to do the best that they can for our patients. And nobody does that in isolation. We all do that as a team. But that's, I think, the ingredient, you know, that magic ingredient that makes this place so different from any place that I've ever been. And I've been here for over 6 years now, and I continue to hear from patients probably on a weekly basis, definitely a monthly basis, that this is unlike anything that they've ever experienced before in terms of healthcare. And I love being part of that. My favorite thing about Mayo, it's hard to pick one, honestly. I feel like I sort of sound like an advertisement, and I promise I'm not getting paid to say this. When I first came to Mayo, I said many times that I felt like a kid in a candy store. There are so many opportunities here for a consultant to advance her career that I really couldn't choose what I wanted to focus on first. And if I had to identify one of the stressors, that would be it, is that there are so many opportunities that it's easy to get in over your head and to take on too much at once. I distinctly remember feeling, jealousy is not the right word, but feeling, because I didn't want to do training again, but feeling like how lucky the fellows who were here were, because Mayo was unlike any other training ground that I had ever seen in my professional training, even though I think I trained at great places and had good experiences, but Mayo truly is on another level. Again, because of the opportunities that exist here and the teamwork too, because fellows, neuropsych fellows don't operate in isolation here. We have relationships with many different disciplines and providers from different departments. So I think as a trainee, it would be fun to come into a place like this and to really follow your interest wherever it leads you. We have developed the connections in this department to help advance any particular specialty area that a fellow might be interested in. So that's one of the benefits of coming to a place like this, is that you can be like a kid in a candy store too. My best memory of Mayo, I'm sure there are others that I could think of, but when I first saw this question, the first one that popped into my mind is we have like a staff celebration normally every January. Of course, this year we won't have it because of COVID. But it's a big party, basically, where they decorate the atrium of Mayo Clinic, which is a beautiful place. And we have fabulous food, and there's dancing and cocktails, and it's just a wonderful evening to celebrate Mayo staff and to help us have a good time, I guess, and get to hang out with each other on more of a social basis, because during the work days, we're all very busy. So my favorite memory is I remember it being almost midnight a couple years ago when I was at one of these parties, and I was dancing with some friends and looked over and saw like one of the preeminent nephrologists in the world, like just cutting a rug. And I just kind of giggled to myself and thought how funny it was to be at a place where that could happen. And I'm a pediatric neuropsychologist, so I can't help but think of, like, you know, how these people were, how I was as a kid, probably pretty nerdy and unpopular in some ways. But here, you know, we all get a chance to just have fun together and be ourselves and really to thrive in this kind of culture. So it's a pretty special thing. Why do I mentor? Why do I teach? I don't want this to sound too selfish, but I have to say that most of the time I feel like I get more out of teaching and mentoring perhaps than I'm giving. I hope that's not true, but I really enjoy being able to meet these young, fresh minds and listen to what they're interested in, and then help to be a guide as they take the next step in their professional development. Each year I get the privilege of looking over applications, and I have to say, I just shake my head and laugh to myself sometimes when I see the incredible accomplishments that our applicants have already had in their careers. If I were competing against many of these people, I don't think I would have made the cut, considering where I was in my development at that point. I consistently experience that we tend to match with fellows that are incredibly hardworking people who have made many, many sacrifices to be at this point in their careers. And I enjoy pairing with these individuals to kind of take it the next step, and hopefully one of the last steps. There's always board certification, which is another hurdle, but I really consider fellowship, even though it's difficult because there's a lot that we try to accomplish in terms of those final 2 training years, but it also can be a really fun time because it's the culmination of all of their hard work, and we get to guide that process. So it keeps our knowledge fresh and it keeps things fun for us as well. So thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope you decide to check us out. Take care.